Welcome to Talk to Brazil with Tom Reaoch, the business connector to business in Brazil. Talk to Brazil is a leading business podcast, talks with business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American known as the King of Networking, connecting people from my studio in Brazil. Today's guest is Veronica Kirin, and she's joining us from Berlin in Germany. Veronica has been a guest on my other podcast, Café Networking, and is here today to talk about her new initiative called Asterisk, so named after the convention that women's health is niche, despite women comprising 51% of the world's population. So Veronica, welcome. Tell our listeners why you started Asterisk.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me. Asterisk is founded on that premises that women's health not only needs to be, but deserves to be just as comprehensive as male health. And so many women are left behind, not simply in a way of reproduction, but also in the way that we are using the wrong symptoms or the wrong data to support women. Mm-hmm. There was an amazing, we were just talking about TikTok. There was an amazing TikTok video that I just saw where a woman explained how difficult it is to be diagnosed late in life, where you think that you are, for example, driving the same car that everyone else is driving, and that your car is breaking down as often as everyone else's car. And yet you constantly feel behind until you discover you're driving an old GM Grand Am from 1999, and it turns out everyone else is in a Tesla. Right. And so that's why everyone else is so far ahead, and they can give Tesla shops the car and it's fixed in moments, right? So it's not, to me, just about quality of life or even human rights. It's also about lost potential around the world from women of every single culture, country, and place.
Now, well, that is global. I feel that I see that here in Brazil and other places that I've been. Generally speaking, even I saw that in the States with my mother. Women are basic caregivers, natural caregivers, right? You're an anthropologist, you know how that all started. Women sort of sacrifice their own health or understanding of their own health or cover their own symptoms for the family. Because it's, taking care of the family more than taking care of yourself. And to that point, most of their interaction when they're going to health environments here in Brazil is that they're taking children, they're taking other persons, they may be taking an elderly person. They're rarely taking themselves. They're taken when something happens.
Right.
So they need they need to be more proactive, but not only the proactivity, the information, the data needs to be updated from the health standpoint.
Mm-hmm. I actually would argue to that point as well, that a lot of times women aren't going to the doctor because it feels safer or even more comfortable to simply suffer. That going to the doctor is so confusing that oftentimes there's gaslighting, dismissal, being told that you're crazy, that the symptoms don't actually exist. For example, my friend went to the emergency room in terrible pain in her abdomen, and she was told over and over, it's an ovarian cyst, just go home. And thank God she persisted, because she was experiencing appendicitis and would have died had she not gone back to the ER the next day and fought tooth and nail for proper imaging, right? So we get these write-offs from doctors where it's more comfortable just to stay home and just to deal with it. And oftentimes with sociocultural medicine, you talk to your friends, your neighbors, your family members, and say, have you ever felt this before? What do I do? And that's how a lot of women struggle through, and why they don't take care, according to the medical data, don't take care of themselves.
So, but to the point of women's health is not an asterisk. What do you hope to do with this?
Yeah, so we are founding a DAO. So we're going to do a little bit of lingo here just to invite everyone in the world into this new paradigm. So a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. What that means is you can think of it like a foundation, okay? So there is a treasury that we are managing. What is different about it is that it is founded on the blockchain. So we hear a lot about blockchain, cryptocurrency, Web3, all this lingo. All you need to know is that The blockchain provides completely transparent ownership due to tokens, right? So in this case, yes, technically cryptocurrency. However, the token confers voting rights within the organization as well as ownership within the organization. And nobody has to manage it because the blockchain is transparent and managing it. So there's thousands of computers confirming who is involved. What this means is that rather than going to the government and getting papers signed, and then we have to sign contracts with every single member, and you can only have a foundation with maybe 20 people, otherwise there's no way you can have all that voting happening.
Right.
Now we can have people around the world, thousands of people involved in one organization, voting to where we're going to fund women's health research, femtech startups, maybe tech transfer, so IP ownership. We're really looking to innovate within this space in order to level the playing field and shift the paradigm completely around the world. I'm adamant about that. And we can finally do it because we're not talking about the conventional structure of an organization that can be quite difficult to manage.
In today's real world, almost everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but almost a high percentage of persons have a handheld device, and would be through that handheld device and through some access to the internet, they can participate.
Yep. That's exactly right.
And that doesn't matter what their nationality or anything. They just have to be a person,
because this is right. The government at this time is not involved. It's about a member-to-member, community-oriented organization that can pool funds as well as take action, and take action so much faster. Because as you probably know, right, if I'm a researcher and I want to conduct a study that is perhaps more unconventional, it's not product oriented, it's not prestige oriented, it's really focused on discovery, which we need. And now I have to apply for a grant from an organization, oftentimes either a foundation, a typical foundation, or the government, or a big pharma, things like that. And this takes a year at least in order to get that application through and then get funded. Whereas when you have, yes, thousands of people who are part of this membership, but because we can take the grants application in and review it and make sure it's compliant with the needs of the qualifications necessary in order to prove that they can accomplish the research, we can put it to a vote within a month and all of a sudden release funds in a month instead of a year or two. So
and that could be literally anywhere, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes. And funding research, not just in the global north where it tends to be done.
Right.
So we're moving faster. We can snowball research, including research that isn't resulting in some sort of massive paradigm shift. It's research that gave us more knowledge, which then we can build off of instead. And so we're creating this transparency in addition to the speed and nimbility as well as cross-cultural worldwide work.
I don't know if the word would be you're creating it. Transparency should have been there forever, right?
Yep,
It sort of started back there, Adam and Eve, when somebody ate an apple and then they started telling people about it or not. But you're applying modern day technology to a complex process, which from my point of view, it's not that it's lacked transparency, but because of the complexity, because of the regionalisms, because of the government controls, the legality involved, major interests from corporations, things just haven't gotten started. And some of that information, that research is out there. Nobody even knows where it is.
Well, and it's kept cloistered. So that's one of the things that we're really interested in, is not to demonize and not to blame, but to really look at what the current system is, where a lot of times a researcher at a university will have results, and those results will be of interest, but the university by default owns those results.
Right.
And so if the university doesn't release those in a tech transfer, then that research never sees the light of day. And you may have similar results across several different universities or several different areas of the world, and we don't know it. So there's levels of complication.
The world saw that in the recent pandemic.
Yes.
The difficulty of trying to get an arm around information, and the challenge, the velocity of the proliferation of a
And the
virus
sharing.
was above and beyond any other communication and transfer of knowledge that existed until now.
Yes.
So today I think people are aware that information has to flow at least as fast as a virus does.
Yeah.
No, literally, when
Yes,
you're talking about
100%.
viral communication,
Yeah.
it needs to be
That's set our
viral.
benchmark. Right. Yep. Yes, you're absolutely right. And so, yeah, that's a great point that coronavirus really set the stage for the paradigm shift to be ready, right? For people around the world to be ready for this type of organization and this type of action, using technology remotely in order to further research and further women's health.
All right, to the point, you're ready to kick off Asterisk. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Who are you going
Yeah.
to kick and where are you going to kick it to?
Yes, and as you were just saying, you're in one of the football centrals of the world. Here we are in Germany as well. Very passionate about kicking. Um, so we have our kickoff event on August 22nd. It's open to the public. Anyone who hears this is welcome to join. And that kicks off the membership development. So over the next year, what our job is to really consider what the best business model is. We have the basics based on what has already existed within the DAO space, within this structure.
And then
of
DAO space again is Decentralized Autonomous Organization.
Exactly. Yep. So organizations built on the blockchain. They're only 5 years old. The first one was founded in 2018. So we have precedence. But we also want to see where we could innovate, because for me, innovation and paradigm shifting is actually the baseline of my work as an anthropologist. I study paradigm shifts. So how do we take this one step further, not to just shift the paradigm for women's non-reproductive health, but also shift the paradigm within Web3 and within DAOs, these organizations. So that's our work over the next year. And we're looking for members who want to help be the deciders in that direction, who feel so passionate that they've been looking for an outlet, for a way to actually drive forward and maybe solve this problem. And then we're also looking for members who maybe aren't so interested in creating the direction, but they want to have a vote when voting finally comes. So
or share knowledge they may have, right? Just to be part of a community.
Absolutely. And if you look at our social media right now, we're doing the I Am Not an Asterisk campaign. So if you feel excited about this, we're looking for people to send their photo and tell their story. So storytelling is a huge component in changing a paradigm. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved. The easiest thing to do is to come on August 22nd. And the next easiest thing is to simply join the Discord or follow us on social media. We will be having more and more meetings and events that you can come to.
But even before the kickoff, the site is open, it's up and running, right?
The site's open, the membership application is up, social media is out. There are many ways to get involved.
So people can take a look at the site, see what it's all about, have a better understanding of some of these concepts. But I have to be honest with you, the DAO I'm new to me, all right? DeSci, or Decentralized Science, is another interesting point to be understood. So for laypersons like myself, it's exciting because it's new.
Yeah. And I do my best to start to explain some of this lingo on the site, because I don't believe that we should have closed doors, especially if we're going to do something that benefits so many people. It can't be behind cloister walls anymore.
No, I agree with you, because I've seen, my life has shown me there's just a mountain of grassroots knowledge and information. To your point of just sharing a story.
Yeah.
Sharing stories that may be unknown to researchers. Things are starting or have been happening. And we're not talking in Berlin or even in Sao Paulo, Brazil. They could be anywhere in the world. Even in the interior of our country, there are places that people haven't set foot yet.
Yeah. Yes.
So there's a lot to learn.
The stories are everywhere. Yeah. Women are everywhere, thus our stories are everywhere, thus the need is everywhere.
Very good. So to the point, what is the site? Where should people go to find this?
You can find us at AsteriskDAO, So AsteriskDAO.xyz. And XYZ is a common blockchain Web3 ending. So you might hear that a lot as you start to get curious about this space. AsteriskDAO.xyz. You can find everything you need there.
But your focus is not, let's say it's not. I don't know what your focus is. Are we talking to young people, to middle-aged people, to elderly people, persons who have had an infirmity, persons who have knowledge about health? Who are you looking for at this stage?
We're first and foremost looking for people who are within the medical sphere who want to drive forward the business of the DAO, right? So really exploring where we want to take action. But as far as membership goes, people who can vote, think about this for a second. For the first time in history, we have the opportunity for patients to vote on research that benefit them. Enormous paradigm shift. Or we talk to doctors. The best doctors are the ones who are most frustrated with the system. And so we're creating an opportunity for control where control has not been had ever, right? So anyone interested in changing this paradigm can become a member. Young, old, male, female, doctors, laypersons, everyone. I think it's very important. But we are in particular looking for people who are within the medical sphere to help with the direction of the organization, become a founding member.
Really what the need is from that point. And obviously, I think most of the medical persons, they have first, second, or third-hand information of what's really happening out there. And I'm saying that out there is out here in the world.
Yeah, unfortunately, right?
And back to the anthropological point, we've seen in the world today massive points of migration. So the world's population is continually becoming, I'm going to say, homogenized. So certain symptoms may be transferred literally. Certain information is being transferred, and that has to be updated. And back to your point, and we've seen that even here in Brazil, doctors have to have an understanding of what's happening elsewhere. Because people can literally step off a plane here in Brazil and could be bringing something, as Brazilians could be stepping off a plane somewhere else and be taking something.
Yeah, and even to expand that point, we know that certain people, certain ethnicities have predispositions towards certain illnesses, right? And so if a doctor doesn't understand that or realize that, they may completely miss the symptoms' significance.
Right.
And thus create a misdiagnosis. So wider expansion of knowledge across the board is very critical. And we're hoping to do that from the very root of what I would say is the issue, which is research and creating the tools to help change this paradigm. Yeah.
Very good, Veronica. I want to thank you again for being here. Again, I want to commend you for what you're doing. It's sort of mind-blowing. It's sort of, when I first saw your first post about that, it really interested me because it's so new. The world's in need of this.
Yeah. Yes, it's
and
definitely
I'm
a
sure
new
from
concept,
your
and
point,
it's
what I have
incredible.
seen you have done does not seem to be easy in any sense.
Well, thank you. I thank you for taking the time to share what we're doing because, as you know, we cannot do it alone. I certainly cannot do it alone, and I can only do it from a white European woman's perspective. And that is not worldwide women's health. So thank you for taking the time to share it so we might be able to expand our borders.
Well, a change of paradigms, it's step by step, person by person.
Yes, it is.
Place by place, right? Yeah. And we can only hope to change the world taking the first step. So
here we are.
So thanks again for being here. And we'll be talking in the future, as I mentioned before we went on. As this steps and goes forward, we certainly will be interested in updating and following.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And again, to our listeners, you can find more about Veronica Kirin on LinkedIn. It's Veronica, and her last name is Kirin. And you can get the Asterisk newsletter as well as more information of becoming a member at AsteriskDAO.xyz. That's AsteriskDAO.xyz. So thanks again to our listeners and our sponsor, Focus MI Market Intelligence. Focus MI specializes in market research for the Brazilian agricultural market. More about them on their site, focusmi.com. Remember, when you talk to Tom, you talk to the world. Goodbye, and thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Tom Reaoch on Talk to Brazil, the business connector to Brazil.